Welcome back, everybody. Today we are joined by Leo from Jamie. So welcome, Leo. First, you could start by telling us a little bit about Jamie and the role that you play day to day.
Yes, thanks so much, Jordan, for having me. Jamie is a AI note taker, which lives on device, so it doesn't need a virtual meeting bot to join your call. And the reason why we built Jamie in the first place was because we worked on a tool that was trying to solve knowledge silos before. And the biggest problem that we saw with users was actually people were not or didn't have the time to actually share their knowledge. So we tried to find a way to help them summarize what they know. And back then, this was 2.5 years ago before ChatGPT was launched, we thought, okay, maybe let's just use AI to summarize your meetings and then directly share it with your team members. And that's how Jamie was born. And since then, we have been building Jamie. And well, I'm head of growth at Jamie, so responsible for everything customer growth related.
I have used a bunch of note takers and AI sort of bots and things like this. And by far, Jamie is the sleekest and nicest interface. I'm still yet to explore it in depth, but so far I'm very impressed. So you guys have done an amazing job.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Happy to hear that.
So Leo, why don't you sort of tell us what do you think are some of the biggest trends that you're seeing in the AI industry right now?
So I would say when you especially look at SaaS, so software companies, I think the biggest trend is just tools all over the place kind of adopting AI features, right? This is true for many SaaS tools that you know by now. So this was GitHub, this was Microsoft Teams adopting with coming up with Copilot, then some coding tools such as Cursor, but also tools that everyone used before Notion now having AI features within their platform, right? So kind of everyone is trying to integrate this AI agent or AI feature to help people be more efficient within their tool. And this is, I think, what I see as the biggest trend right now. Some people or some companies being faster in implementing that as others, but I think across the board, that's what you see.
Right. I've noticed the same thing. And so being the head of growth, like what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've faced in growing Jamie over the last 12 months?
I think there are two things looking at Jamie. So on the growth side, I think it's finding a really good scalable channel. So we have started with SEO mainly, actually. So how people find us through Google, and we can optimize that by creating content that people then kind of find when they type in certain keywords in Google. This has been our main channel. And at a certain point, SEO does kind of flatten. So you have to find other growth channels. So the biggest challenge actually there is to experiment with other things, paid partnerships, and so on, and find a kind of time frame or experiment spectrum when to decide and how to decide to actually double down on one strategy. Because I am a true believer of focus, meaning that you should not do 5 things at the same time, but really test different things and then double down on one. That's what we saw the biggest success with. The other challenge, I think, for Jamie was always building a super sleek, super nice, robust app that gives the best user experience. So really double down on product quality, user experience, and so on.
Okay. Well, you can definitely see that in my experimenting with the app. It definitely feels a lot nicer than anything else I've tried. And so you mentioned that you tried a whole bunch of different things to acquire new users. Like what things worked and what things didn't?
Yeah, very good question. So for us, it's a very specific use case where we are not clearly B2C or B2B. We have a very unique go-to-market motion where we are starting off as B2C, where individuals are finding out about Jamie through social media, through Google, whatsoever, and then they start integrating it into their teams. So the usual kind of go-to-market is someone finds out about Jamie because they Googled about AI note takers. They try it out themselves. They might even start paying privately for Jamie, and they love it so much, so they start recommending it to their colleagues, to their friends, and then it starts spreading viral, like as a virus within the company, and then it becomes B2B. Then we start upgrading, upselling the companies. So this is kind of the current go-to-market.
Okay. And what things have you tried that haven't worked so well? You mentioned you did SEO, and there's some organic stuff. Have you run any paid ads? Have you experimented with those sorts of things?
Yeah. We've tried a lot of different things. We tried paid actually a year ago. It didn't work out. We're trying it out again because we didn't really execute well, actually. We didn't have enough resources and focus for that channel. And I believe that almost every channel can actually work for you if you double down and focus. So trying that out again. One thing that we also tried, which we kind of didn't seem to get working, was kind of newsletter paid or podcast paid partnerships.
Okay. Interesting. I haven't explored that before. I heard a lot of people starting to do stuff like that, and they also are experimenting with Reddit ads, actually. Is that something you guys have entertained?
I have heard about it a lot, also on social media. I have not started that project yet because currently the focus is still on SEO and starting to figure out if we can run paid ads for us profitably. But I've heard about it a lot, and I would actually be keen on trying it.
Okay, nice. And so, Leo, what are some like big goals over the next 12 months or initiatives that you guys are rolling out or have on the books?
Yeah. So we are just about to launch our new version 5, which will be mainly web-based. So it will be kind of this Loom experience, if you know, that you have a web-based application, making everything faster, more snappy, but also having the native recorder on your device, giving you the benefit of actually not having to invite a meeting bot, but having the ability to summarize all your online meetings on device. So just capturing the system audio, and also offline meetings where you just open up your laptop and we take the microphone up your laptop to record, which is the great benefit that so many people love. And the goal of shipping this new version is kind of automating the whole process around meeting, before meeting, mid-meeting, and after meeting. So kind of briefing you before you jump on a meeting on who are you meeting with, what were maybe the last discussions that you had with that person. We can take kind of tasks that you discuss with that person. If it's a weekly or a recurring meeting, kind of brief you quickly before you jump on a meeting. During is kind of what we already do. So summarization, giving you maybe a notepad to write down your own thoughts, and we integrate that into your notes. And post-meeting experience, everything related to extracting insights from your meetings, sharing it with others, collaborating with your team on meeting notes, and so on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I mean, a major point of difference with Jamie is that it doesn't join the call. It's on the device, right? What was the decision to do that and pick out the system audio as opposed to like join the call and take that audio, or be like very in your face?
Before we started building Jamie, we interviewed a lot of customers, and back then there were some competitors of ours already in the market that did transcription mainly. There was no really a summarization tool. They did mainly just transcription. And the most annoying thing that people mentioned was the spot. It was making an uncomfortable situation. People didn't really know what was happening. So we decided, okay, is there a way to actually record audio from your participants, so system level, but also from your own microphone using AirPods, an external microphone like you are? And we found a way to actually capture the system audio, which it's way harder to build than just inviting a meeting bot. After trying to, after figuring out how to actually make that work, it has been the best thing ever because people love it. And it's one of the main reasons why people switch to Jamie.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised to discover that it didn't join the meeting, but it recorded through the system. And I think it's far less intrusive and less clunky, and I prefer it that way. So because you're able to do those things, are there other solutions that you can think of, or maybe are down the line that you're planning to integrate into Jamie? So it's instead of just a recorder or a note taker, it could be, I don't know, some kind of agent that performs actions for you or listens to other things and gives you insights around those.
Good question. There was a time that we actually considered being more of a personal assistant on a whole level, meaning that you can kind of dive or like connect to all kind of workspaces such as Slack and Notion and so on. But as I said before, I think if you're building something, focus is really, really important. And we decided to really focus and double down on the meeting experience as we do right now, and because you can just execute it much faster. However, what we do plan, of course, is to integrate Jamie into all kind of other solutions that our customers are using, right? So this is a Notion, any task management tools such as Asana, Trello. So after your meeting is done, you can directly kind of push all your tasks into your task management tools. They will be allocated to the right location. So you don't have to worry about anything of this kind of sorting your notes or anything else after the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really exciting. I look forward to seeing that. Have you guys raised funding, or has it been a completely bootstrapped venture so far?
We did raise a pre-seed, but it was, to be very honest, it was on a different product. So there was the product that we built before, TeamTap, which I mentioned quickly, which was this kind of internal Reddit, internal Twitter, where people share their knowledge. And then now considering raising a seed, but not really needing to because we are very close to profitability.
Okay, nice. So then, Leo, if let's say we had a magic wand that we could wave over like one big problem right now and we could solve it like that, what would you say that big problem would be, and why would you like it solved?
I think the magic wand would actually be reaching all the users that have had bad experience with other note takers and other solutions in the market, and kind of contact them and say, try Jamie out, because this is what that many people stopped using tools because they were so frustrated, but they never started looking again because they just, had a bad experience, were so kind of annoyed at this interruption or anything. And probably a second thing is building a web-based tool from the beginning on, having this kind of Loom experience of having a recorder and also the web-based application, which makes us just much more agile and flexible.
Is there a mobile app as well, or is it that's not been developed?
It is developed as we speak, but it's not live yet.
Okay. And so when can we expect the 5th version to come out?
Version 5 is going live next month, probably. We're still in the beta testing with some of our closest customers. We have created a board of customers, which are customers that have stayed with us for a long time or kind of want to be engaged into the product building, which has been probably one of our biggest advantages because we are very, very close with our customers. We have feedback calls on a monthly basis with them. So if everything goes well, we actually to go live.
So can you tell me a little bit about the feedback calls? That's not something I've heard before, but it sounds like an amazing idea. Like what sorts of things are discussed, what questions are asked, and how big are these calls?
Good question. Let me maybe take you back of when we started, Jamie. So as I told you, this culture kind of started very, very early on. And this was probably one of our best thing that ever happened because we would not be here if we wouldn't have done that the way we do it. Before we even started to build Jamie, we just did a secret launch of having a website or building a website, a landing page, having people sign up just to our network and kind of getting their commitment to pay already to validate if there's a demand in the market. After we had a certain amount of signups, we decided, okay, this is really something that people want. So we are starting to build it, but it was not that there, right? We had 7 investors calling us. They wanted to invest in the product. We had hundreds, if not thousands of customers signing up to the waitlist, but there was no product yet. It was just like a website to validate if the demand would be there. Then we had to decide to actually build the product. And how we did it was to onboard our waitlist in small batches, starting with the onboarding call, where once we had the first product version, which was still kind of crappy back then, we kind of re-observed their onboarding process, where they were struggling, what questions would come up in the onboarding process. And then after 1 week of using it, we jumped on another feedback call where we kind of asked, okay, how was your experience? What did you expect to happen if you press a certain button, which kind of maybe created frustration and so on. By now, of course, it's a little bit just not that scalable. We would have to hire a huge team just conducting feedback calls, but we do it on a regular basis with the version 5, with the version 4. But now, especially when we do a beta test with the new version, we just onboard everything and everyone in batches that agreed to actually help us test version 5. And then we have a feedback call afterwards.
Okay. Wow. So as opposed to what a lot of founders, or especially in the software space, if you're a technical founder, they go off and they build something that they believe the market wants, and they go and they shove it down their throats and wonder why no one wants it. And I think the market is always right. And it's very interesting to hear that you guys did the opposite approach, where you asked the market what they wanted, you validated it at each step, and you're getting their feedback along the way. I've never heard of a company doing that. So no wonder you guys have got such an amazing product. Wow, fascinating.
I think it's actually our biggest lever and advantage because exactly we listen very closely to our customers. Of course, you cannot just start building blindly what customers tell you to build because it's not always what they ask for, what they actually need, right? You have to dive deeper into specific needs.
Nice. Okay. And then, so you mentioned already that you might prioritize having a web app as well as a desktop app. But are there any other things that you would change if you could go back and start again?
I think probably focusing on robustness very, very early on, because you want to ship very quickly and want to iterate over new ideas. You don't get to a certain level where you dive into the smallest detail. So technical terms, clean up the code and whatever. I think that sometimes, of course, frustrated users, but also made us very agile. I think sometimes you have to quickly stop, clean the code, make it more robust, and then move on.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Awesome, Leo. Well, look, if people want to check out Jamie, like where can they go and how can they connect with you?
Yes, so they can simply Google Jamie AI or go to meetjamie.ai, and it's free. You can use it for free. We have a very generous free plan, and check it out. Compare it to the solutions that you might be using at the moment. Of course, I'm biased saying that it's the best, but
yeah. Well, like I say, it's very well done, and I'm still testing it out, but so far it's much better than the other ones. I couldn't believe when I started looking for this solution that nothing existed, or at least I couldn't find anything that existed that was easy, simple, and wasn't like super intrusive or didn't join meetings and start screaming at you. And people do get weird when the bot joins, and I often feel like they're guarded and they don't sort of share what they really want to share. So yeah, this could be a great solution. Anyway, Leo, look, I really appreciate the time today. Highly recommend everybody go to meetjamie.ai and check it out for themselves. It's free. I'm going to continue testing it. But thank you guys very much for watching, and leave any comments or anything like that down below. I'm sure Leo and I will field them. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next podcast.
Perfect. Thanks, John, for having me.